the LFO. It's a cool thing in Predator-3. If you move here the LFO amount in filter 1, or I can move it here in filter 2, it jumps down here to the filter section page. And you see this one is tempo based, free running. And what happens if you hit play, it always starts at the 0. Watch this little dot. If I play press, and you see it starts on the 0. Okay, we see people in the chat room. Hello everybody. So I'm just playing around with this sound, the sequence sound. We have in this part only a few things playing. Oh no, that's the mixer, sorry. Okay, it's just a basic thing which I very often use. You hear punch with the bass drum, a little percussion from punch, which is hi-hats. And the bass. The bass is stubborn bass. I made it a little bit more muddy. So when I started out, okay, now I opened the wrong one. Open stubborn bass. It started with this one. Well, that was too obvious, so I'll close it a little bit. So it fits nicely. And then I was tweaking just the Predator sequence, which I used also last week, but I simply add the LFO and did a little tweaking in the arpeggiator. And I think it's a nice combination which jumps up and down because of this LFO thing. And then I have, and that's the news for today, guys, because maybe you notice, if you maybe did log in, you always have the first page on the home page where you can see what is new in terms of updates. So if I go with the mouse here and you go, let me see. Of course, I log in now and I essentially see a little bit too much. But if you log in, then you see we have a bit more. And you see here, if you log in to the home page, and then the first page you see is the home page, the home part here, this one. There you can see we have updated today Explorer 7 version D, March 30th, and Predator-3 with 128 new presets. And that's the news of today, guys. So let's pull that back again here up in my up screen. And then, so we have in Predator-3 new bank. So if after the live stream, you can log in to your account and download the latest version of Predator-3. Also download the Predator-3 NKS or the NKS in case you have the machine or complete control from Native Instruments. Then you need to run the Predator-3 NKS installer. And then it adds the new presets we added. These presets I received a little time ago. But I need to check them, tag them, volume, little things popped up. And I picked the nicest one. And it's the Sanguinea bank. And this is the name I never could pronounce. In 2021, I had a hard time pronouncing it. I did it the whole wrong way. But it's the Sanguinea Project 1. So this is the new bank, 030 Sanguinea Project 01. And I'll have a test on some Apache Play, which also played in the start. So maybe the other one is a bit disturbing. So let's shut that one down. Now we have only saturated sounds. But you can see, I click here in the upper section on the manager, that there are many presets, 128, a full bank, new presets with some very interesting sounds. Some of them are renamed. The clusters, for instance, they use the chord memory. So let's play a few of the clusters. So in the play mode, you can see the chord is active, 3 notes. And what happens with the chord memory is once I hit one keyboard, it plays for you these other notes, which one is tuned 7 semitones higher and the other one is 12 semitones, 1 octave higher. So if I hit one note, it plays for you 3 notes. So keep that in mind, because if you hit then 2 notes, you play essentially 6 notes. This one is mono, so that makes it a bit easier. She only can play 1. But essentially, it's possible to have even multiple notes. So if I could say here poly, then I could play even more. Okay, let me play another one. Well, this one has the chord in the semi-tuning. Well, this one uses 5. So complex chord. But there are some other sounds, very nice pad sounds. So let's play a few of these sounds for you. You see the XY pad is used. Clouds 06 is this one. So I'm just playing a few of the pad sounds. Very spacey, some of them. Slow attack. Okay, so these are sounds from the Sanguinea bank. Okay, this was also a nice one. This is called pads. So I'm just and also synth sounds. This one is nice. Okay, let me see. Sorry, I did close the... Uses the wavetables. And still, so what I check on the presets, if the XY has function, this changes the filter. So you still can change the sound. There was also very nice bass, very analog sounding bass, old bass, I'm not sure. Or was it this one? It's a very short delay, so it sounds very 80s. Very short room. So bass, there are many basses on board. Even some organ key sound. And this one is also nice. Lead sound, he has a trombone, which is very good. Yes, and then the 80s pad. So very nice pad sounds. I did not give a star because, yeah, most of them are very interesting. This one has noise. Okay, so I'm just picking a few. Some of these sound effects are also nice. This one, this Geiger sound. This is a funny one. Of course, not very healthy if you have this really in real life, but a sound effect, it's less harmful. So, all kind of nice. Oh yeah, there was also a very nice E-piano. Let me see where that one is. It's in the key section. It's a very soft sounding, very mellow sounding E-piano. So I'll play it now. So it doesn't have this sting. It's a very mellow one. I need to shut down my microphone, otherwise you'll hear my keyboard playing. So that's called another EP, key EP. It's just one oscillator. Does a little bit of morphing, you can see. So the waveform moves a little bit. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, most of them are very good. So this is a new version of Predator-3. You see here, it's version 1B. Oh no, it's C. My version is still older. It's C because, yeah, I have this bank already in my B version. But if you download it, it's version C. So if it would be correctly, if I would go here, check for updates. Aha! Let's see what pops up that you can do. There is a new version of Predator-3 available. And then click OK, and then you go to the download page to download the latest version. So this is version B I have on my computer. Of course, I have the bank already installed. But for you, if you click now on this feature here in the upper control menu, check for updates. Then you see, hey, there's a new update, and then it brings you to this new version. Okay. Now let's see on the chat room. I see some questions pop up. I love to hear some oscillator phase. If you use 2 oscillators and detune them. Yeah, sure. Could you make a patch for just 2 oscillators, with one of them being detuned by 1 cent? Well, one of these sounds which is using that particular is, for instance, in the introduction bank with this Moog lead. But where do I have it? Is it maybe in SoundBank too? That's a typical, or in this bank. I'm looking for the particular preset. Maybe I should look in the introduction bank, but there are so many in the introduction bank already. Okay, let's do it from scratch. Okay, I'll go default. Sinus waveform. Take a saw waveform. Second one also saw waveform. And now you hear already some moving, but that's because we have in the play mode the analog drift. If I put down the analog drift, it stays very straight. So if I put it down, but if I use analog drift, I think we set that to default 20%. You're gonna hear that things get alive. So this is not a global setting. You can change it for each preset. If you go with too much, it's of course not as nice, but it's a very interesting feature. Mostly it's 20%. I looked for this typical setting by comparing it with the Minimoog. That was my reference in terms of how this analog drifting is. So now you hear this moving, because that's moving. You don't hear if you use 1 oscillator. Straight, 2 oscillators. Now and then I detune 1 cent, and you can see up here, you read out, or you can also, in this pop-up, I put 1 cent higher. Oh no, that's already too much. I need to use shift 1 cent. Now, spread has nothing to do with analog drift. Spread is essentially if you have 1 oscillator in Predator-1. Spread makes it from 1, 3. That's why the volume goes down, because essentially you have 3 oscillators. Essentially, that's very similar to what happens with a super saw. Essentially, a super saw is the saw waveform, but then multiple ones and detuned. And what happens here, I made once a video about it. It happens that once you open spread, is that, and you can use it also not only on the saw, but all waveforms, is that instead of 1 oscillator playing, it plays 3 internally. 1 pitches down, 1 stays in the middle, 1 pitches up. So essentially, if I would use spread and all 3 the oscillators, 9 oscillators are playing. But of course, it doesn't mean that it always gets better. I mean, less is more, also with synthesizers, but that's the spread function, essentially. So if you use, we had this trombone sound, which sounded very nice. But if you would, for instance, just as an example, if you would use I go back to the trombone, and you see the trombone has only 1 oscillator. Because with the trombone, comes from one part. So if I would use that spread, the whole trombone sound is gone. So that's the thing about the oscillator. So yeah, in this bank, this new Predator-3 bank called 130 Sanguinea Project 1, it's available. If you download the latest version of Predator-3, this bank will be added, and it released it today. So I see this question pop up in the chat room, and some very nice sounds. Sound effects. This one has a very nasty low end. The sound effect, it's called At the Dentist. Very popular subject. Yeah, very eerie, isn't it? Some sequence sounds. Arpeggiator. So I'm playing just this is one of my favorites. This one is very nice. And you open the modulation wheel. Düsseldorf. It's of course in a different pitch key. Düsseldorf-3. There's Düsseldorf 1. So Sanguinea is from Düsseldorf, that's clear. It's a nice arpeggiator, isn't it? Düsseldorf 3. Yeah, and what I like most of this bank is the pad sound. Ah, okay, yeah, this, yeah, cool. Yeah, well, Düsseldorf is not so far from my spot as well. I think it's half an hour, a bit more than half an hour. These are the cloud pad sounds, very spacey. You see he uses many spectrum waveforms, which change. So definitely one of the very cool new sounds for Predator-3. So if you missed it, we updated today the Explorer 7 and Predator-3. So they are both available. What we did also in the Explorer 7 is update RP-Verb 2, because if you use Pro Tools and AAX, there was an issue with mono tracks and RP-Verb 2. Then there was a little bug in RP delay. And of course, for Mac, we are working very hard on getting everything M1 compatible, so that it uses the native ARM programming. The M1 Apple computers do have a ARM processors, and now the programs we are now this way that it uses. It looks if it's using an Intel processor, then it uses that code, and it's the newer code. It uses the ARM code, and we almost have everything updated. Only a few left, but that will be fixed within a few weeks. I think the ones which are left are Vector, Quad, and Punch 2, but the other ones are already also like this Predator-3 or SoundBank 2 are already compatible and running native on the M1 new computers. So that's also changed in the Explorer 7. Yeah, and of course this Predator-3 update. Maybe you did recently update to a Predator of Explorer 7 or installed it recently. You also can say, I only download Predator-3, because if you go down in the download page of Explorer 7, you will find all single products. Okay, so this for the first half. Definitely check it out. Very, very good bank. Very nice sounds. Especially the pad sounds are superb, and I'm sure you will enjoy them just like me. And many thanks to Sanguinea to share this great sounds with us. And yeah, give him a shout out here in the chat room, or in the I was can post, of course, in the YouTube post itself. So in the down section of YouTube, you can give also a post and say, cool, this new bank by Sanguinea. Yeah, and then there is, of course, more news. Yes, there is more news. We will have in April will be a Predator-3 month, so that will be cool. So we start Predator-3 month with a new SoundBank for Predator-3, but a bit later on, yes, a bit later on, something else will happen, which took quite some time, but we will have then also an update for Prisma. Yes. It took a while because, Prisma is programmed by our Mac programmer. And due to the changes of Mac, he was very busy in updating all the plugins for the latest Mac version. So it slipped a little bit with Prisma. And we had also a bug in Prisma with the 200% version, but that's fixed now. So with Prisma, once we release it, you will have 100% size, different sizes in the for the graphics. I'm using here the 150%. And it loads Predator-3, so I already started doing some presets. So this one combines the string from Predator-3, and it combines the choir using the vowel filter. And that combined together, you get a double layer stack sound. So this is one preset I created. And by the way, what you can do now, the modulation wheel changes also layer 1. So let me shut down layer 2. Layer 1 is this one. Well, it's very minimal, so I can keep it in. But if I don't want to have this layer 1, then I go to layers and to the MIDI filters. I can say that layer 1 does filter the modulation wheel. So then only the other preset, other layer changes. So this is one of the first presets I did. Then I have this one, Predator-3 Pad 01. These presets you see here, they will appear in the super pads or one bank, but first I'm creating them here in the user presets to have them in one spot, all the new ones. So then this is also a nice one. And you see, you can here change the still. So this one, and you always can see loading preset. Wait, that because it needs to load the plugins. Yeah, and then we have this one. Stay Anna Sweatpad. That's a nice, that uses BIT and Predator-3 for a kind of analog style. So you hear, I can press solo for the first layer. So it's from BIT, a pad sound, and this one is Predator-3, these three. And both together, you got a nice stack sound. Or you can say, yeah, so, and another one I created is, so these are the pads I'm creating now. Prisma, hopefully we have that one next week. So that will not be tomorrow because I want to create some presets. And another one I did in the classic stacks. Here you can click order by date and you see Sweet Ambient Predator. And that preset uses also tries Predator-3, but has then a pad combined with a more percussive sound. So like this. Yes, and what I did is not use the reverb, because what I did, I load the Predator and then I picked this preset, but then I shut down here, and this one I shut down the reverb because I use the reverb from Prisma, because then you can use the one reverb also, for instance, on the pad. I don't do this, but so I use the 4FX here. You have 4FX, which you can use by using the FX send. So I have 4FX already in Prisma, and it's a high quality reverb. So instead of using the Predator-3 reverb, I use it in Prisma. So if you have, for instance, a layer with 4 instruments, this is more CPU friendly, because if you have 4 layers and each synthesizer in this layer uses its own reverb, that's far more than using one general reverb here or 2 general reverbs. So that's also a nice thing inside Prisma where you can, so here the FX sends what here. So yeah, I need to create a few more presets, but we will have it out next week. And you can see you can load the Predator-3. Took a little bit of a while. And it also has a standalone version. So if you run the installer on the PC, there will be a desktop icon. Okay, let me show you. So if you run on the PC, you get this desktop icon, and then you can run Prisma standalone. In the Mac computer, this program is in the application. So you need to open the applications and then double click there the Prisma standalone version, and then you can, by using Mac, you can say keep this one in the dock, so then you can click it from the dock. But so the Mac version has also the standalone version. Okay, so I'm opening it again. Here it is again. Yeah, and of course you can combine sequences. So that's a cool thing about these sequences inside Prisma. So if I would go to the user presets, I could say, for instance, now just in the workflow, what I would do if I would combine sequences, I would say new preset. You see, the menu is a little bit different than what you're used to because it's built by another software part. I would say sequence party Pred. So Predator-3. No, I don't think. Let's see if I can make it Predator-3. Let's see. Okay, it fits. Okay, I always need to see if the name fits. So now it's an empty layer. The first thing what I do, you see here we have the easy edit. That's also something cool. But first I pick the plugin. I go to Predator-3. Okay, most of the time I open the screen here and select a preset in Predator itself. That's a little bit faster. So here I could say, what should I take? Let me see. Okay, take this one. The next thing what I do is shut down the stereo delay because I can use that one in. So that's one. And you see, if you go to the easy edit, you can see that there is already a default setting for all the parameters. Essentially, all the parameters are available because if I want to have something else here, I can simply pick one of the other parameters. And there are many in Predator-3, but so we made a layout here, which you also can load because default layout. So now it jumps to this default layout, but you also can save your own layout. So if you say, I don't want this parameter, but I want this parameter, you can save that to disk. So that's in the easy edit. Keyboard layout, I can transpose. I can say. So these are the basic things. Each layer has its own EQ, but I don't use it yet. And the MIDI filter, I can say, okay, okay, that's the modulation wheel. I keep that in, but you can filter pitch wheel, all that kind of things you can do. But this then would be the first one. Then I go to the next one. I simply have fun now with Prisma. So then I go open, edit plugin. So also here, the second layer, I pick Predator-3 and I go back here in the manager. And I simply pick another sequence. Hey, it fits. Lucky strike. So here I see choruses used that I keep in. There's a mono delay. A mono delay I can also use inside the Prisma. So also here I shut down the delay. Second layer. No, let's then have a third layer. And look again. I again open it. I again go to a bank and maybe here, psytrance. No. That could be. Or this one. Yeah, now the fun part is I keep this one now. I shut down the... This one has a special reverb action, so I keep this one as it is. And then I go to the multi-control page. There's simply nothing connected yet, but I pick here first a stereo delay. And in FX2, I pick this mono delay. Mono delay, what should we have it? Yeah. Most default is already for this one, okay. Then I go back to the multi-control page, and then I can say mono delay. I can control it here, and here the stereo delay. So here I pick then from layer 1, FX1 send, that's the stereo delay, and layer 2, I had this mono delay. So of course I can combine this also, but there I pick this. Oh, it's the other way around, Rob. Layer 2, FX2 send. This is layer 1, FX1 send. Of course, I need to have the amount open, and then you see here in layer 2, you see the layer 2 FX open. So now you have already some cool things. So now what I could do here on the first fader filters, if that could maybe do some cool things. So I go here, layer 1, filter 1. And it's very important that this, what I'm doing now, you do on the last moment. Otherwise, it gets messed up. So I take here also layer 2 filter and even layer 3D filter. Layer 3, layer 2, layer 1. Okay. Now it jumps already. I'm not sure why it does that. Yeah, and then you could have this as a sequence. So now I could save it. I save it now in the save preset. Okay, save preset. Yes. And then I try it out with some piece of music with a bass. For the bass and so. See, you can change the other way. And then I can play solo if something gets irritating. Yeah, and then that's the cool trick. If you think, okay, this is a little bit boring, it only plays ARP A, then what I can do here is go to commands and say copy ARP to RB, which is number 2, and then have a... And then I could say join. And now you miss on one the first beat, but because the other ones are playing also on the first beat, so play let's, you can... You still can add it to sound, so the second one, maybe you want to have that one shorter. You simply add it to sound or make it less delay. So So let's see how it beats. So this one is maybe a little bit boring. So so even if you stack presets, you still can edit these synthesizers. And in the preset of Prisma, everything is stored. So if I go, it's just like a song, essentially. So this one is a little bit irritating for me. I open the LFO. It's not running. Sync. Needs to be free mode. Editing. Now totally change the sound and let's see how it works now. Press off the solo, so now we have all the 3 layers again playing. Much better. So now play it solo. So this is an example what you can do. One control is still free. I could use that one for maybe decay of the sound. So maybe making it a little bit longer for this layer 3. Layer 3, decay, layer 3, and release. That I will change the same. Let's see how that works. Not really. Now I go to layer 2. That one is most likely better for this trick. So it's a little bit experimenting, of course, but the cool thing with Prisma is that you still can change. You use a preset, but you still can do anything with this layer, and then you save this layer, and then you have a special sequence. So now, you see, that was cool. So let's see how that works now. So I will save this one. So once we release, you can load this one. But what is very important with Prisma is that this multi-control page, this MCP multi-control page with the 4 phases is very delicate. So the best thing what you can do is having 3 layers already. Then you tweak the sounds already, and then at the very last moment you start adding these parameters. Because if you would switch from presets, then the down here, the layers, everything gets messed up, and then the response is different. Because essentially you control the parameters of the synthesizers, and there's an amount control, how much you control them. So yeah, from that point, I mean, it's Prisma is way creative, and you can do some very cool things. And you see now, by using 3 Predators, I created a very special sequencer. Yeah, and that's also the other thing. I use the modulation wheel, and if I go back to the layers, so the layers each of them has the easy edit. So easy edit, you see all the parameters, and for the first 3 layers, yeah, you see it's Predator-3 each time the same. The keyboard layout, I can do keyboard split points. EQ I mentioned already. I don't use it in this preset, but MIDI filter. So because when I open the modulation wheel, you all hear them changing, and sometimes you don't want that. Then you press the filter, So there's much freedom inside this. It's a fantastic thing, a fantastic feature, and it has its built-in FX, as you can see. The multi-control page, and then of course is the sequencer of the manager, and then here I need to set of course a tagging, which I would say it's percussive. This is not valid. It's polyphonic. No, not really. It has effects, so I would save this. Okay, save preset. Then it overrides. It's a little bit different compared to the other ones. In the other plugins, you can, click here on the right-hand side on the for adding the tagging. It's a little bit different with Prisma because it's a different kind of software we use for Prisma. So hopefully next week I will try to have also some new presets for Prisma, and of course it makes most sense if you have all the plugins. But if you only have Predator-3, you can stack yourself Predator-3, tweak around, save the preset, and that's the cool thing, of course, of Prisma. Because essentially you can, in a music track you also can 3 times using Predator, and then make a combination of the sequencer. But now you do this in Prisma, and if you want to use it elsewhere, you can load it in pretty easy. And so it's really a nice stacking device. Okay. Now we are at the very end of the live stream. So again, the news: Predator-3, the new SoundBank is there. Predator-3 update with the Sanguinea bank 128. Great presets. I hope you enjoyed it just like I did. And then we have Prisma hopefully next week with the standalone version, different sizes you can have. And then of course it loads now Predator-3. Okay, let's see if there's maybe any question in the chat room. So I'm looking in the upper box here. Yeah, it's a VST as its own. Yeah, definitely. And the standalone version is also nice. So I think should be able to show you the standalone. So double click. Most likely it will work. Here's the standalone version, and in the top section you can see the audio setup. You need to select your audio ASIO card, and then you need to select your MIDI input. And then you also can save this as a setup. This, I think even the preset does a setup. But the standalone version, it's working very nice. And yeah, makes also that you can use Prisma or enjoy the synthesizers with uploading your whole song. It's just if you just want to play one instrument, you upload Prisma, take one layer and play it. Okay. Predator-3, I open it now for you. Here it is. So yeah, then the plan for April. At the end of April, we hope to have RP Distort 2. This is so a new version of RP Distort will be part of the Explore 7 bundle. And next week, the plan for next week, and I think Gerd Bruns will laugh, will get a big smile on his face. Next week, I want to do the Aurora track from Nova. I started it, I think, 1 year ago, or maybe even as recreating it using the plugins. And of course, it's more time than expected, but hopefully next Thursday we will have that one. And I will use Predator-3 and BIT, and we recreate this track, which was came to the #1 chart in 40 years ago in the Netherlands. And yeah, the album is re-released as I mentioned earlier, but of course that I will mention also next week. Anyhow, thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the live stream, give it a thumbs up. And yeah, give a thumbs up to Sanguinea. Just post in the info section from YouTube, and I hope to see you next week. Stay safe and enjoy making music.